I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. What is it, Wednesday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday all day today. Just in case.
Well, we might be heading to Miami, or at least Palantir's heading to Miami, getting out of Denver, Colorado. That's Colorado's largest public company, announcing yesterday it's had enough. Heading to the free state of Florida. What does that mean for Colorado, the financial impact it's going to have? And did Jared Polis know this was coming?
Oh, I doubt it.
We'll get into all of this hour. We are broadcasting from our sister station in Colorado Springs.
This is
KZNT.
Neat. This is cool. Answer. Yeah, AM 1460, FM 101.1. Made the drive up the Ribbon Highway this morning. It was kind of nice.
Because, nobody's out at 4.
No, it's fantastic. I'm friends with the truckers, and we're just rolling by alone. It was kind of nice. And the studios here are fan-freaking-tastic. They have really done this one nice. And it's a nice little facility. We're happy to be joining you guys today. And we've got some Colorado Springs-focused guests that are going to be here, too.
That's exactly right. The Jeff and Bill Show expanding, now syndicated into Colorado Springs on 1460 AM, 101.1 FM, The Answer. And we're going to be talking with Congressman Jeff Crank. Congressman from this district will give us the latest insight on another government shutdown.
Another one.
Let's hand these people our health care decisions. We'll get into that in the 7 o'clock hour. In the 8 o'clock hour, the residents having to deal with the Ford Amphitheater sounds, the concert sounds playing late into the night during the summer. We'll be joined by some of the plaintiffs. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting because do they have a legit complaint? They bought their houses in many cases before the amphitheater went up.
Yeah.
But in other words, are they really just acting like your mom telling you to turn down that noisy music? What are they doing?
I know. Could you imagine? You buy your house, you're settling in. Yeah. Then they build a big old concert venue just down the street until well after 9 o'clock. You got to hear it. And we'll play some of the audio sounds that people have recorded from their backyards.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the concert's just down the street. I mean, it's you could sing along to it.
The odd part for me is somewhat of a benefit.
Yeah, right.
I'd be in the backyard woohoo, here we go.
There might be some people here willing to sell their house.
Alrighty, there we go.
So we'll be talking with plaintiffs, some of the attorneys in this case against Ford Amphitheater here in Colorado Springs. Plus, Stephen Colbert getting censored. Was it the FCC? Was it CBS? Was it Trump himself? Did he pick up the red phone and say, shut Stephen Colbert down? And, Bill, I went and watched this interview.
Oh, did you? I didn't.
Well, you had a better evening than I did. This is the most boring interview. James Talaronki, or whatever his name is, from Texas, should thank the Lord that he got this attention because a lot of people probably took a nap halfway through this interview.
Now, while I appreciate Stephen Colbert and his intelligence and what he has done as far as his career, don't always agree with him, but I don't think he is the best interviewer. I don't think his interview skills are as good as some of the others that are out there. Although the other two Jimmys aren't much better, they're kind of the same boat. Yeah.
Billy, I will say this with all confidence.
Yeah.
CBS would be better to put us on air than Stephen Colbert at this point. Bro losing $40 million a year on his television show.
The thing for me is it's the interview. And I think the interview segment on a late night show is somewhat passé and almost shouldn't be done. I'm reminded of the conversation that John Oliver had with Trevor Noah regarding The Daily Show. And it was when John Oliver was filling in for Jon Stewart for the first time, and he's like, this is a big deal. What am I supposed to do? And he's kind of trying to figure out the lay of the land, and he's going to be filling in while Stewart takes about a 2-week break, and he's asking him about the interviews, and he's like, so you got 5 minutes, and you get into these issues with the interview. What are you trying to do with that interview? And John looks him straight in the face and says, I'm trying to fill 5 minutes until the next advertising commercials have to run. And he goes, what? He goes, that's what we're doing. And so that's why when Oliver moved to HBO, he didn't do an interview segment. He's like, well, it's unnecessary. And Oliver knew that he's also a crappy interviewer. He's like, he can't interview. He's like, I know I can't do this.
Late night's just not funny anymore. It's not entertaining, especially Colbert. I think Kimmel is a close second on that. Jimmy Fallon's still kind of fun and entertaining, but My goodness. Colbert clearly demonstrated, and we'll get into the details on this in the 9 o'clock hour, why his show is being shut down. CBS wants nothing to do with this guy anymore. So we'll get to all of this and more. Now is time for the news.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, let's see, Wednesday morning, 33 and partly cloudy in Denver, and 34 in the Springs, expecting highs in the low 50s today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning. For a new home heating and cooling system, contact your Lennox dealer. Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealers or dealer for details. Our top story, a deadly chain reaction crash involving 36 vehicles shut down I-25 near Pueblo on Tuesday. 4 deaths, 29 hospitalizations that involved 36 vehicles. That was what the report said, and the crash was triggered by severe wind and low visibility conditions. Southbound lanes were reopened by mid-afternoon, but northbound I-25 remained closed late into Tuesday evening as crews continued to clean up, and the investigation continues. The Colorado Supreme Court has a new judge. Governor Polis appointed Susan Blanco, chief judge of Larimer and Jackson counties, to the state's highest court. She succeeds Melissa Hart and is Polis's second appointee after Maria Birken-Cotter. Blanco will serve until November 2028, when voters will decide on her retention for a 10-year term. The Nuggets paying tribute to former coach Doug Moe, the great Doug Moe. His death was announced on Tuesday. Moe led the Nuggets from 1980 to 1990, winning a then franchise record 432 games. He also led the Nugs to the playoffs 9 times, including an appearance in the Western Conference Finals. In 1985, the Nuggets called Moe a one-of-a-kind leader in person, adding that he will always be loved and remembered by the team and the fans. He was 87, had a great sense of humor, never took anything too seriously, had a classic post-game news conference after home games and at his desk, and he coined the term stiff. I've played this before, but I'm going to play it again right now.
If you take this line here, this line here, this line here, and this line here, and you play in between there and have a good time, you'll end up scoring. So forget the plays. Just go out there, have a good time, run around like a chicken with your head cut off, make those stiffs run and chase you on defense a little bit, and you too can win a few games.
Great stuff from the late, great Doug Moe. Passes away at the age of 84. Efforts continue today to locate at least 9 skiers who've been missing since an avalanche hit near Lake Tahoe in California. Authorities said that 15 backcountry skiers were caught up in the avalanche Tuesday. Of those, 6 have been rescued and 9 remain unaccounted for. Planning is underway in Chicago to honor the life of the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, the civil rights activist and 2-time Democratic presidential candidate, died Tuesday at the age of 84 also. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg will take the stand today in a landmark trial against social media. The plaintiff is a young woman who sued TikTok, YouTube, and Meta, claiming she became addicted to the social media sites as a child and has experienced anxiety and depression as a result. And I believe her on that count. The U.S. men's hockey team will meet Sweden in the quarterfinals today at the Winter Olympics. Team USA is the 2 seed after going 3-0 in group play. Sweden beat Latvia 5-1 Tuesday to advance. Meanwhile, the U.S. added 2 more medals. 34 in the Springs, 33 in Denver, and that's the latest. I'm Blake Olson. More of the Jeff and Bill Show ahead on News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver, and now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you hear both sides. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
.710 KNUS in Denver, Colorado.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show, where you hear both sides. Palantir, Colorado's largest company, leaving Denver for Miami. Denver Post reporting the departure follows multiple protests over the company's role in immigration enforcement and contracts with Israel.
Interesting.
Yeah, considering most of our state leadership is Jewish, that they're leaving Colorado because the protesters don't like their relationship with Israel. By the way, Deep Singh Badesha, friend of the program,
he's great.
was spiking the football, taking credit.
Really?
Yeah, he said this wasn't the Democrats, this was the socialists who forced them out.
I'm not sure I'd take credit for it. The thing for me is that it's the protest. One, that Palantir, how bad were the protests? I just, that's what I'm looking at, is how difficult was it? I'm not certain that if you have a protest and you have a retail type of location, or you have something that is a restaurant where lots of people need to have access to the ingress and egress of the facility. But this is a private company. I can't imagine you're having a whole bunch of people swinging by. Is it just because of people walking in and out? And I'm curious as far as what and where the protests were. I understand outside of some of the offices. The other part is this one. Okay, just between you and me, I'm a little surprised on this because I had some really big concerns with Palantir when they were getting all buddy-buddy with Doge and going into some of our government databases and yanking stuff out, like assembling profiles of Americans based on our IRS tax returns and getting other government databases and putting those together. Because they're a private company that wasn't necessarily a direct government contractor, they were brought in by Doge. that is basically, for me, 2 steps away from government oversight. So they don't have the same type of oversight that other companies do. That worries me. Nobody said anything. This whole thing with the immigration, the AI, I'm kind of like, if you were okay with the other stuff, I don't understand why this issue is enough for you to stand up and go yell at them outside their offices for. Because for me, the other one seems to affect a heck of a lot more people and seems to be, if you're talking about an egregious violation of privacy, that would be it. Not this one. I don't get this protest.
Well, ICE, their contracts with ICE were about 1% of their business.
Yeah.
So Colorado socialists chase Colorado's largest public company with a market value of $312 billion out of the state.
Yeah. I'm curious what our tax bill from them was, because companies that operate on that level normally have the ability to avoid contributing to state and federal taxes in a measure that most people would think would be equitable. So I'm curious about what their...
Jared Polis avoided 3 years of federal tax.
Oh, yeah, exactly. All of them, too.
Gets to be governor of Colorado.
Oh, yeah. You get to a certain level, and then you have the ability to not pay tax, and that's just how the system works. So they seem to be on that level. So I'm curious about what the loss is. I'm thinking it's somewhere around, I guess, 150, 200 jobs. That's big, but not huge. It's not like we're losing 10,000 jobs, etc. So the individual...
There's no company that does 10,000.
Oh, no, but I'm just saying that if they were pulling 10,000, you're like, oh, my God. But they're pulling 150, 200. Okay, that is an impact, but I don't, if you close a grocery store, you're going to be losing that.
Well,
so
think
I'm
about
not,
not just the company, but the people it employs that live here. So if you are Colorado's largest public company and you have executives... Yeah. You have people that, probably likely own nice homes that contribute a lot to property tax. You have people that go out to restaurants and eat dinner and all that stuff. This is classic Colorado continuing to push out the producers and the socialists spiking the football. Here's Deep Singh Badesha last night. The protests against Palantir were largely led and organized by DSA Denver and its allied organizations, while corporate Democrats were cozying up to Palantir. Working people were in the streets applying real pressure. That's the difference between movement politics and donor politics. I mean, they're celebrating this, which you sit there and you go, well, all right, if your entire modus operandi requires tax dollars, you're a socialist, right? That's it. Every solution is a government solution. You need tax dollars. You ain't getting them from the folks on the lowest rung. You need the tax dollars from the highest rung, and you just ran them out.
Maybe this is a win for affordability, because those rich people have to leave and sell their homes, and we're kind of in a down market. So maybe those homes are more affordable. I'm trying to see the bright side here. I think it is absolutely stupid, one, for Palantir to move based on what I've read so far on the level of protests. It doesn't necessarily seem to be that... I don't know, that disruptive per se, but I don't know. I don't know all the stories, and I don't know the incidents that may or may not have happened with individual employees going in and out of the offices. If they're standing outside and they're just yelling stuff all day, who cares?
But it's not just that. I mean, they left California, too. Why are you going to continue to operate in a state where your lawmakers hate you? It's a constant barrage. You got to pay all these lobbyists to go out there and just try to, water down these bills that seek to punish success. And then you get into taxes. Florida, for instance, doesn't have, I think it's the income tax. So if that's the case, well, it's going to draw businesses. And you see this happening in Texas. You see this happening in Florida, where businesses are leaving New York, Illinois, California. They're leaving Colorado. Why put up with it? Look, the energy industry has left Colorado at this point. They don't want to put up with all of the vitriol that comes from not only protesters, but from lawmakers. It's a constant barrage. They look like the gun industry here in Colorado, the guys that own gun shops. Every legislative session is a whole new barrage of bills, not sought to make the community better, but to hamstring your industry, seek to shut you down, and attack success in this state. Socialists are running out some of the best, most profitable industries in this state simply because they don't like one aspect. They're not going to have the tax dollars to be able to run their programs anymore. And guess where they're going to come? They're going to come after your money. And the amount of taxes that a billionaire and millionaires are paying versus what the rest of us are paying makes up for a huge chunk of the state's operations. When that's gone, well, now they're coming after you. This is where it's going to continue to go in Colorado until we wake up and stop punishing success. All right, we want to hear directly from you. Feel free to join the conversation. Give us a call at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. More to come. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710, KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. We are The Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KNUS in Denver, Colorado.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show, where you get to hear both sides of an issue. Text messages coming in. Joan from Lakewood. What incentives did the state give Palantir to come to Colorado? I don't know the original incentives, but
sure.
What was interesting in this was Jared Polis and Mike Johnston were caught by surprise.
Oh, yeah. I'm not surprised. But they are caught by surprise. This is interesting. I think that some of this with Palantir is also not necessarily a way to put the company, in my opinion, into better position, but to put the executives into a better position. And once you started saying that, and so that's the thing that I question. It's at the core, not about the company itself. It's about just the people that run the company. So the priority, again, not the company, in my opinion. And you talked about the idea that Florida has no income tax. Okay, so that is a benefit for the executives. But Florida has a higher corporate tax than we do.
Yeah.
So Palantir will theoretically pay more taxes as a company in Florida, but it's a win for the executives. I think we figured out why they're moving.
Well, that's part of it. Why wouldn't you? That's part of the issue
because
here.
The company would pay less money in taxes here. That was why you wouldn't move, because then your profitability would be higher. Your balance sheet would look better. That's why I wouldn't move.
I also think that Florida has made it much more attractive to do business there than it is here in Colorado. You just don't see it working anymore in this state. You have people leaving. You have taxes increasing, fees increasing. People are angry about the direction of the state. Poll after poll shows that even Democrats don't like the direction of the state anymore. We've become not just a center-left state, we're a deep blue state right now, where it is, how can we build another program and force you to pay for it? I mean, my God, we're buying every single kid in the state of Colorado lunch at this point.
Yeah,
so
silly.
I think people are done with it. I think executives are done with it. You do got skiing happening, but we'll just fly in, But you did have the CEO of Palantir buy the $120 million spot up near Aspen. There used to be a Buddhist monastery.
Yeah.
So
somehow that was okay.
People thought he was sticking around. It's okay. And then, the announcement comes yesterday. If you
other part.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, talk about the announcement.
I was just going to say the headline was that Palantir, Colorado's largest public company, now leaving Denver for Miami. Lots of other companies have left at this point. Remember Chevron sending out the letter to Mikey Johnston that they're just done leaving the city of Denver. I think people are tired of the crime. They're tired of the homelessness. They're tired of the taxes, fees, and regulations. It's not a friendly state. Democrats always put these special interests and these government-run projects ahead of the people that build things in this state. I mean, at this point, what businesses are looking at Colorado going, you know what I want to do? Move my industry there. Things seem really competitive. Space Force, gone. Palantir, gone. Chevron, gone. Do you know what the biggest industry now in Colorado, the biggest public company?
No, I don't. But I guess it'd be a service
It's a gold mining company.
Oh, interesting.
That's
now,
what we're left with, a gold mining company.
I understand the idea that because Colorado has become a liberal bastion, that somehow Palantir can't do business or whatever here, and they don't agree with the politics. But before we talk about onerous government, I think we need to remember Ron DeSantis and his Disney crusade. That was something where the government is specifically going after a major company in the state. And in fact, what was it? He even talked about the idea of inserting a poison pill into the legislation that he was doing in order to take apart what Disney had built inside of Florida. So if the conversation is that the government is so onerous on business and the government is trying to tear down business, if I was going to talk about governments trying to take aim at businesses, one of the top three examples I'd put out on the table would have to be DeSantis in Florida and Disney. Have to be.
Do you remember this tweet from Jared Polis? Florida's authoritarian socialist attacks on the private sector are driving businesses away. In Colorado, we don't meddle in affairs of companies like Disney or Twitter. Hey, Disney, we're ready for Mountain Disneyland. And Twitter, We're ready for Twitter HQ2, whoever your owners are. Well, that was 2022.
Yeah.
Or, sorry.
2022.
Is that 2022?
Yeah, 2022.
It's like one of those funny. I was like, is that 19 or 20?
And we're in a different studio, so everything looks different today, too. The screens are different.
So that's 4 years ago, coming up on 4 years.
Yeah.
Neither of those two companies mentioned there have left where they are and come to Colorado. And in fact, Colorado now has a exodus taking place. I don't think that tweet ended up so well for Jared Polis.
No, it didn't end up so well, but the idea of, Palantir rushing to the safety and security of Florida, where DeSantis was going hardcore after taking apart Disney. I'm like, so that's why I disagree with it. For me, I see Palantir moving to Florida as an agreement by the executives, because, again, the executives are going to make the move, and they go, you mean if we go over here, we don't pay any income tax, so all of us get to keep more of the monies? Oh. Now, the company is going to actually have to pay more tax, so our specific revenue for Palantir will drop, but we have more of the monies. All right, everybody vote. Oh, wait, it's unanimous. I mean, you don't even have to take a voice vote on that one. Of course they're going to do it. Of course, at that point. But I see this as the Palantir executives putting their own personal gain ahead of the gain and the structure of the business. And that's fair. They can. Their business. They're in charge. Do whatever you want. You're in charge. That's why you're there.
Company,
yeah.
But you have to keep in mind the regulations on this. Miami has made a concerted push to attract more technology firms, the Denver Post writes, and one of Palantir's co-founders, tech entrepreneur Peter Thiel, opened a new Miami office for Thiel Capital, his investment firm, in December. And then the mayor of Miami spiking the football. This is the tipping point. What a watershed moment for Miami. This is just one of many examples of successful businesses fleeing blue states. You see it happen in California all the time, New York as well, especially under Mamdani. They're not going to want to be a part of what he's got going on. Socialists destroy. They don't build. Where is the great state that everybody loves, that's run by socialists, and they can't wait to get there? Where is the movement happening in America towards blue states? You constantly see the exodus from Illinois, New York, California, Oregon, Washington, now Colorado. These folks get together, they pass 500 laws a year, they can't build a bullet train, they're delayed in delivering 16th Street Mall, they're delayed in delivering Denver airport improvements. Everything they try to build takes twice as long, costs twice as much, and it relies on your tax dollars to do it, so they're going to punish you to build crappy things that take extra long to deliver. It just doesn't work. And the voters need to recognize, you here in Colorado, that if the Palantir executives aren't paying for it, they're coming after you next. The government is coming after your tax dollars. They're just going to continue to lower that cap until eventually people making $50,000, $60,000 a year are having to pay additional taxes, you already are, in fees, in order to fund these government programs. I just don't see it working, Bill.
Yeah, again, I'm curious, as Palantir, they also are moving to Miami to make things more expensive for the workers in the company, because they operate off a higher level of sales tax since they don't have personal income tax than we do. So everything all the Palantir people buy inside of Florida are going to be expensive. Oh, yeah, and moving there, the housing cost is about 8% higher. So if you sell your house here, it's going to cost you more to get a equal-sized house there. So winning. The company is taxed higher. The people that aren't very, very wealthy are going to end up having to find more money to buy the same size home, and they pay more for all the stuff they buy. Okay, no personal income tax, but that's the positive step that Palantir is taking, one in which the company's tax burden increases. Look, but the value for the executives, that increases as well. So winning.
Successful business people. This is what they do. They build successful companies.
And make their company pay more taxes.
And I guess we scoff and laugh at them, But that's not tax revenue coming to Colorado. That's not jobs coming to Colorado. That's going to have a downstream impact on the restaurant industry, on downtown Denver, office spaces, all this stuff. So, yeah, I guess you can mock the executives and Palantir for doing this, but at the end of the day, this is a loss for Colorado, plain and simple.
I mock their excuse. The fact that I've seen the pictures that we have, Denver Post we're using as a source, has got some pictures of protesters. There are tens of people out there. And I mock their reason, the fact that there are protests out there. And I disagree with Deep Singh Badesha saying that their protests are the reason Palantir is leaving. This, to me, seems like a money grab. The executives can put more money in their pocket. They end up hurting the company. And the people that are lower on the food chain inside of Palantir have to pay more for their houses. They don't care. Those executives win, win, win. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I just think that this is a BS reason for Palantir to move, but the protests give them political cover. Fair enough. But I also disagree with Deep Singh Badesha saying they win.
It's not just Palantir. You have Chevron. You have pretty much the entire oil and gas industry in Colorado at this point has moved out. This is a big signal being sent by producers that they can't operate in the state anymore. Text messages coming in. K9, unlimited dog training, texting in, or this is Rod from Littleton, sorry. Is DeSantis going after Disney because it's a big business or because of their woke policies that were hurting the citizens of Florida?
Yeah, it's the idea that he was going after them for their policies. But that's my entire point, Rod, is it's the idea that, oh, my God, Colorado is so bad because of these liberals and their politics. And yet you run to a state in which the governor, in my opinion, has been much more overt in using his politics to go after business. So that's why I disagree with Palantir's excuse. This is a money grab. They can move for whatever reason they want. But their excuse? Yeah, sure. I'll get a bridge to sell you in New York.
Ty Golden reminding us that the monastery in Aspen, purchased by the CEO of Palantir, was a Trappist monastery.
Ooh,
I don't know Trappist.
Beer.
Do you know Trappist?
I just know they do beer.
Not a Buddhist.
That's okay. I'm just know that they're the ones that do the beer. So I'm happy with that one. And if it continues that way, yeah. And also, that's weird. I guess it doesn't matter. If you're able to buy that amount of property up there, it doesn't matter. But he's just made his commute more expensive. But who cares for him?
0773 texting in. Don't worry, we'll have a population explosion when Colorado legalizes prostitution.
Oh, that is good. There's so many questions I have about that. Yeah, legalizing. Okay.
Jay from Louisville reminding us that this was a business that did business with ICE and Israel, helping kill Gazans and has Epstein connections. The company and its employees can go to hell. Well, yeah, that's that type of motivation.
Yeah.
That just,
now, the question I've got on that one is, what my buddy Jeff here brought up earlier, is that somewhere around 1% of their business is dealing with ICE, and a small percent of the business is also dealing with that as far as Gaza. Is that enough of an issue for you, the listener of the Jeff and Bill Show, to say they need to pack up or stop doing this? I understand the politics and the political position, but because it is such a minor point of the work they are doing, it doesn't bother me as much as other people. And what I'm looking at is, when this is what really bothers me in this entire protest about Palantir working with ICE. I didn't hear anybody standing up when Palantir was going into our governmental systems, taking our personal information and compiling it in private servers. That, to me, is a much larger, more egregious breaking of the rules and norms here in America than doing business with ICE or inside of Gaza. But none of y'all stood up. Nobody was out there protesting in front of their offices then. That's why I don't really believe you at this point, being angry about this.
I did go to the anti-Doge protests.
Oh, yeah.
They were concerned about their privacy.
Oh, yeah,
and then
they
I
were.
just reminded them that they gave up a lot of their privacy to PayPal.
Oh, absolutely.
Already.
Yeah.
And then they got mad and walked out.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely a fair point. And what I'm looking for is, where are these people that are protesting now, that are going to the streets and having this activist of change? Where were you when Doge was digging into your stuff? Where were you guys? I didn't see any of y'all out in the street. I could be wrong. Maybe you were there. Maybe some of you were, and that's great. But that's why I see this as a pile of BS on both sides. I think Palantir is making an excuse for moving, and the Democratic Socialists of Colorado that are spiking the football, I think you got played. I think you got played. They are using you as an excuse. I don't think that what you were doing is that disruptive to business. And if you were really worried about a lot of the claims you are making, you would have been out there when they were doging it up with Elon.
Brian from Littleton, I don't blame Palantir for leaving. I'd like to leave too. The Democrats have ruined this state. Four Corner Steve, I heard you mention the Denver Post. Surprised they're still around. 7143, don't forget Magpul leaving Colorado for Wyoming. Yep. Others pointing out that Chevron hasn't left Colorado entirely. They moved their operations up to Greeley, but they did leave the city of Denver and sent a Dear John letter to Mikey Johnston.
Yeah, and I understand it based on some of the ways that we started dealing with oil and gas made it way too difficult for some of those large companies. I think that they were making noise about some things that were kind of silly, but I also think they had some absolutely great perspectives, and I think there was a lot of overreach at the time on restrictions of oil and gas. And this is not because I am a huge oil and gas guy or have a whole bunch of depth of knowledge. I have a lot of surface knowledge, but I talk to people that are in the industry. And what I think is, in some cases, for me, a little more important at times, is I talk to people that have some of those oil and gas wells on their property. So I talk to the landowners about what is the experience, what is it like, how does this work, and are you happy with the money and what happens with the wells? That's where I take a lot of my information. Granted, it's anecdotal, but so far the people that I talk to that have the wells are fairly happy with the way that the system is set up.
9275 reminding us that legal weed is another reason companies are leaving Colorado. Manufacturing jobs and jobs that insurance requires a sober workforce are struggling to find labor. You add to that legalized prostitution. We're not bringing the best and brightest for Colorado businesses to employ.
I want to touch on that just for a sec. The idea of bringing the sober workforce, I think, is interesting, simply because we've talked about it previously in another avenue on the show, Jeff. The idea that someone that uses marijuana, it stays in your system for much longer than it does with alcohol.
Right.
So the idea is if someone went out and had marijuana tonight, they go to work today, they would test hot, but they're sober. By all accounts, they're sober.
Sober-ish.
No, they're sober based on the efficacy and the times and the timeline of marijuana. It's not in your system 12, 18, 17 hours to affect you in the way that I believe you're talking about being sober as far as not being able to drive, not being able to do other things. There are other issues, but there's other health issues that happen with long-term drinking. That's the thing that I find interesting about the insurance and the idea of a sober workforce, because we are testing someone where you can see if they did marijuana for 30 days, but we aren't worried about some of those other drugs being tested for the same time, especially alcohol.
Or just be sober. All right, we've got You Choose
legal.
the News coming up. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1 The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. You Choose the News is next. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KNUS in Denver, Colorado.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range. This is the Jeff and Bill Show, where you get both sides. And now we're going to take some time for a little frivolity.
Yes, we are.
Is that how? Am I getting better?
Yes,
at
frivolity. Yes, that is fantastic.
Because they pick apart Candace Owens.
Oh, yeah, they do all the time.
And you could absolutely do that to me, too. But I think I'm getting better.
Me too on certain days, especially 6 o'clock in the morning. It's kind of weird. So, yes, alrighty, John, it is time. Not an Incredibles villain. This is not the villain in Incredibles 8. Cuban Adventure. Today we are talking about Havana Syndrome. Yeah, now we've got an update in the idea of Havana Syndrome. If you're not familiar, this is what some of the people from the U.S. Happened to them when they were working in Cuba. All of a sudden they get some brain conditions, dizziness, headaches. Well, they've been studying it. And there's one group of scientists in Norway that have a device that is supposed to be causing Havana Syndrome. And one of the science hippies decided, hey, should I test whether or not this gives me cancer by trying to give myself cancer? Yes. He experimented by using the machine on himself. And now he suffered brain damage.
Yeah, like you can't walk.
Yeah,
it's like
not at all.
Really serious, permanent stuff.
It's absolutely horrible. He's got a medical condition now. It's been diagnosed severe symptoms, headaches, dizziness. Hundreds of spies and diplomats across the world have gotten this as well. He said he developed the symptoms very soon after experimenting with it. He didn't believe that it actually could do anything at first. He wanted to test it, turned it on, and bang. U.S. government officially classifies these mysterious cases as anonymous health incidents.
Yeah, it's because they don't want to pay for
exactly.
medical care.
I know. So basically it started back in 2016, and CNN recently reported, we covered on You Choose the News, that the government has spent more than a year testing a device they purchased undercover. I think on Etsy.
That's like,
I'm not sure.
It's basically like saying, hey, these things shoot bullets.
Yes.
Let's see if they shoot bullets.
Yes, like your friend going...
looking down the barrel.
Oh, yeah, or the idea of, let's see if this vest stops bullets like it says on the package. No, let's not do that. That's just such a bad idea. Yeah. Such a bad idea. Okay, now, second choice is for Blake Olson. Sir, your headlines? Like in Game of Thrones? Remember the War of 1932? Or the Farquad Tower? Your choice.
Remember the war in 1932.
Yes, remember the War of 1932. We all should take a moment of silence. Okay, that's enough. This is concerning the Emu War that happened in 1932 in Australia, where the Australian military decided to try and cull a population of 20,000 migrating emus. And they lost. They gave up after a couple of months. The emus won. Well, the emus evidently have understood. They now run the place. A West Australian country town is now growing increasingly concerned over emu raids. Yes, they're going to start another war, but they're raiding the trash. The mob is in Mannup. It's about 270 kilometers south of Perth, Australia, and it's a giant group of emus that come into town. Now, the problem is they've been spotted with assortish trash stuck around their necks. Boxes, plastic things like that actually put them into some serious issues. So they say there is a problem. Yeah. So it's the largest flashpoint is a long-running challenge with emus, according to town officials. They say they roam like gangs through the dry summer months just outside of town, feeding on our vegetable gardens, disrupting traffic, and eating our trash. They said they're living off of our trash heap. It's really sad, but kind of helps too. So they're not too sure what they're going to go, but they're probably not going to try. Yeah, they're not going to try shooting the emus again. That's probably not a good idea. I don't think they're going to do that one. I know. Okay, final choice this morning, Mr. Hunt. Like in Game of Thrones or the Farquad Tower?
The Farquad Tower.
Yes, the Farquad Tower! Shout out to those of you that are fans of Shrek and you recognize the reference. North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un has unveiled a brand new street in the country's capital, Pyongyang. It is there to honor the sacrifice some North Korean troops have given while dying in the Russian conflict with Ukraine. You remember how we talked about North Korean troops were sent to Russia to their surprise, and they were used basically as cannon fodder, where when they got into a military strike, they just sent the North Koreans in. Well, Kim Jong-un is going to honor their sacrifice by cutting the red ribbon at a ceremony to open Seopol Street. It means New Star in Korea, to honor the heroes of overseas military operations. Now, not to be outdone by Lord Farquaad, they're going to be building the Farquaad Tower. Remember his famous line when he sent people into battle? Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Kim Jong-un is also willing to make that sacrifice. They are also going to be building a tower there that will be offered as housing to any of the families that lost their kids in this silly military operation. So, yes, you'll get a street, and then you get to live in this tower where everybody points at you and says, those are the people that lost and then they died. It's like a really depressing dorm. I don't know why you would do that. I mean, I can't figure out why they would do that one. That's just a really, really crazy one. So, yeah, that's the Farquad Tower. That is the end of You Choose the News. You got a little bit of time left.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk modern rugged leather. We're broadcasting down here in Colorado Springs. Billy brought my gear down here.
Yeah, he did.
In my modern rugged leather bag. Love this. From the city streets to the mountain trails, your gear should go wherever life takes you. That's why at Modern Rugged Leather, every bag is handcrafted from premium, responsibly sourced leather, designed to look sharp, last long, and tell a story of its own. Each stitch, buckle, and strap reflects timeless craftsmanship and is backed by a lifetime warranty, because quality shouldn't quit when the adventure begins. Whether it's in the boardroom or the back roads, Modern Rugged Leather helps you carry confidence every step of the way. Modern Rugged Leather, modern style, timeless durability, backed for life. Life's going to take you places like to Colorado Springs, Mr. Thorpe. Make sure your gear keeps up. Shop the full collection and find yours today at modernrugged.com. Again, that's modernrugged.com. All right, we are currently in another government shutdown.
Yes, we are. This is silly.
This time targeting Homeland Security. We will be talking with Congressman Jeff Crank of Colorado Springs.
Yeah, we'll ask him why it's his fault. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I am teasing
you
him.
two like to get into it, too. And I'm going to be in the middle between the two of you.
I know. This
here.
is going to be fun. But, yeah, we're in the middle of another government shutdown. Does he think this is going to last? Why? Do the Democrats have any reason? And another one is this now how we have to solve our budget issues? If we can't do it during the regular process and procedure, have we just come to a place where every few months, maybe every year, it's an annual thing, we just shut the government down for a while because you guys can't keep it running?
I'm also going to ask him why America's so racist to require identification to get on an airplane or to buy beer or to sign up for anything. Because apparently if it's racist to require identification to vote, it's racist to require identification for anything else, right?
Yeah, but what's that bar we had yesterday that just raised the drinking age to 25 because of all the fake IDs showing up? So again, is this the solution that's going to be rock solid? Ooh.
Well, since they registered a dog to vote in California, yes, it is. All right, Billy and I will continue the debate. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And also at AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. See, he does porter, lager. I think he's a beer fan. I don't know. Well, this is where you get to hear both sides. We'll be back in a second.